Quick question. Are you exhausted from being busy all day and feel like you're not making any progress on your actual goals? Today, I am busting some of the biggest productivity myths holding you back from getting what you really want and those big, juicy results in your business. So let's get into it. Myth number one, I hear so often, and it is that working more hours equals more success. And this is the definition of working harder, not smarter. This is going to be what most people default to, even though I know you've heard that saying before. A lot of people, when they are not hitting their goals or they feel like they're behind or they're overwhelmed, they think doing more or putting in more hours is the answer. I have yet to find this true for any of my clients, so I bet it's not true for you either. I want to introduce you to something you may or may not have heard of before, and it's called the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. This is the theory that 20% of your efforts or your focus yield about 80% of your results. And this is why working smarter is going to lead you down the road and get you to the goals that you want to get to. This means that you are working smart, not hard, because you're prioritizing the top impact activities or the needle movers. And you can find some other videos about this. I harp on the needle movers all of the time because we all fall in this trap at some point. And that is where we are busy and mistaking that busyness for productivity. True productivity means you are moving the needle. You are getting closer to your goal in some way. If something you're doing is not getting you closer to your goals, then it is not a needle moving task and it's not going to get you where you want to go. It's just going to leave you feeling dejected and overwhelmed and maybe even like a failure if you keep at it long enough without changing anything. So I want you to work smart, not hard, by tracking your time for a week. Identify the activities that you've done that actually move the needle in your business and the activities that you've done that didn't have any impact on the bottom line or the goals that you're working towards. And we're rolling right into myth number 2, which is that multitasking is efficient. And by now, most people have heard that it's not, but most people don't quite believe it or somehow think they're the exception. I know I definitely did for a very long time, honestly too long. And it is what kept me stuck for a while. Now, what multitasking does, it's not just having 10, 20 browser tabs open. Multitasking is our focus. And there have been a lot of studies done where it takes, on average, about 3.7 seconds for us to be distracted enough to exit a flow state or a creative state. And in that 3.7 seconds, so your email or your phone dings and you read the preview, you're out of your flow state. And then it takes 20 minutes to get back into that flow state. If you're getting emails every 10, 15 minutes and you're working on getting back into that flow state, almost there, but not getting back, does that sound efficient to you? I didn't think so. So instead, what you should be looking to do is really prioritize those deep work or those flow states by single tasking. This way you get deeper and higher quality work done faster and with less stress. You can do this a few different ways. Time blocking is very popular, as well as the Pomodoro technique. So you can focus on just one task for a chunk of time. So try dedicating some blocks of uninterrupted time to your high priority needle moving tasks and notice the difference in your output quality and even your satisfaction with it. I bet you're going to get more done in less time. And I bet your bottom line is going to increase with those less hours that you're working too. And myth number 3 is that motivation leads to action. The problem with relying on motivation is that it's kind of fleeting. It happens like a flash in a pan. The right moment or a burst of inspiration can cause it. But then what? No one gets to a level of greatness on motivation. That is just not how it works. Every successful entrepreneur or everyone who's ever been successful at honestly anything has done it not through motivation, but through action. It's momentum built up through routines and disciplines and habits, not waiting for the inspiration or the motivation to hit them. This is where you can look into different approaches like atomic habits or the slight edge. These are all about creating tiny, 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 consistent habits to support you that you can do even on those low energy days. I like to suggest to a lot of my clients that they start their day with a quick ritual. So it might be like a 5-minute planning session to review their top priorities, their top needle moving tasks. If they can only get 3 things done today, what are those 3 things? And if you're only getting 3 things done, they better be moving the needle. So take what we talked about in the first myth, which is do kind of like a weekly audit, write down everything that you do for a week, no judgment, and then go back through and review what of those things you did move the needle and what didn't. And that's going to lead us into our next action, which is going to be creating a not to-do list to sit right along your to-do list. So as you're going through that weekly audit, and you're going to put things on the not to-do list that are busy work, they're not productive. They might feel like it, but they don't actually move the needle. That list is going to be just as important to keep in front of you as your to-do list. The to-do list is only things that move the needle towards your goals. Not to do are all the distractions, even if they feel productive. And this is how we are going to really get clear on working smarter, not harder, because we are not out here to work all the hours, get all the stress for half the pay. That is not what any of us started our business for, and we are no longer digging into any of that like it is an actual rule when we just proved they're all myths. So no longer are we thinking that more hours equals more success. We are no longer believing that multitasking is any kind of efficient, and we are no longer going to be relying on motivation to do anything. We are going to get our motivation from our actions. So I want to hear from you. What are some of the myths that you used to believe that we went over today? And what are you doing to replace them in your life? Drop it in the comments below and let's all learn from each other. So until next time, stay focused, y'all.